Part 1. The illusion of time in the discovery of the present moment. Most human suffering does not come from what is happening right now. It comes from what we think is happening, what we remember, what we anticipate, and what we fear might happen next. The human mind has an extraordinary ability to leave the present moment and travel into the past or the future. And while this ability has practical uses, it also becomes the root of anxiety, regret, guilt, and restlessness. One of the central ideas explored in The Power of Now is that psychological time, the constant mental focus on past and future, creates unnecessary suffering. The past exists only as memory. The future exists only as imagination. The only moment that is ever truly real is now. When the mind identifies itself with time, it creates a false sense of self. This self is built from stories. Who we were, what happened to us, what should have been, what might happen, what we fear losing. This mental identity becomes what Eckhart Tolle refers to as the egoic mind, a sense of me that depends on thought, comparison, and narrative. A commonly quoted idea from the book expresses this clearly. Realize deeply that the present moment is all you ever have. This is not a poetic metaphor. It is a literal truth. Life is never happening later. It is always happening now. Even when you think about the past or future, you're doing so in the present moment. The problem arises when the mind resists the present moment. Resistance appears in the form of wanting things to be different, mentally arguing with reality, replaying past events, worrying about future outcomes. This resistance creates emotional pain. Pain, according to this teaching, is not caused by situations themselves, but by the mind's refusal to accept what is. Acceptance does not mean passivity or weakness. It means recognizing reality as it exists before attempting to change it. Another key insight often referenced is, whatever the present moment contains, accept it as if you had chosen it. When this attitude is practiced, inner conflict begins to dissolve. There is less tension, less mental noise, and a deeper sense of calm. The book also introduces the concept of the pain body, an accumulation of unresolved emotional pain stored in the psyche. This pain body becomes activated when the mind dwells on old wounds or anticipates new ones. When active, it feeds on negative thinking and emotional reactions. However, the pain body cannot survive in conscious presence. When awareness is brought into the body, into breathing, sensation, stillness, the pain loses its fuel. This is why presence is emphasized not as a philosophical idea, but as a felt experience. Simple practices help anchor awareness, noticing the breath, feeling the inner body, listening without mental commentary, observing thoughts instead of believing them. Thoughts themselves are not the enemy. The issue arises when we become identified with them. When a thought appears and is believed automatically, it controls emotional response. When a thought is observed without attachment, it loses power. As stated in the book, you are not your mind. This realization is often transformative. It introduces a gap between awareness and thought. In that gap, peace naturally arises. Silence plays an essential role here. Not the absence of sound, but the absence of compulsive mental commentary. Silence is always present underneath thought, waiting to be noticed. When attention rests in the now, time loses its psychological grip. Action becomes more effective, relationships become more authentic, and life feels less like a struggle. The present moment is not a problem to be solved, it is a space to be entered. Part 2. Ego, Inner Stillness, and Living from Conscious Presence. The ego thrives on identification, with thoughts, roles, opinions, achievements, and possessions. It needs comparison to survive. Better than, worse than, superior, inferior. It defines itself through separation. One of the most powerful insights from The Power of Now is recognizing how the ego disguises itself as the voice in your head. That voice comments, judges, complains, and narrates constantly. When believed unquestioningly, it creates a sense of inattention and dissatisfaction. The ego resists stillness because stillness exposes its unreality. A brief but impactful quote often shared from the book states, "The ego does not know that you are the sky, not the clouds. Thoughts are like clouds. They come and go. Awareness is the sky, open, vast, and unchanged." When awareness recognizes itself, identification with thought loosens. Living from presence does not mean withdrawing from life. On the contrary, it allows for deeper engagement. Actions performed from presence are clearer, more effective, and less reactive. This shift is especially noticeable in relationships. Most relationship conflict arises not from the situation itself, but from ego interaction. Each person's pain body reacts, defends, attacks, or withdraws. Presence interrupts this cycle. When one person becomes present, truly present, the dynamic changes. Listening deepens, reaction slows, space appears. Another frequently cited idea from the book explains, where there is anger, there is always pain underneath. Presence allows pain to be felt without becoming destructive. Instead of projecting pain outward, awareness holds it gently, allowing it to dissolve. The book emphasizes that awakening is not a future achievement. It is not something that happens later after fixing oneself. Awakening happens now through awareness of now. Waiting for a better future becomes a subtle form of avoidance. True change begins by fully meeting the present moment. Even practical life challenges, work, finances, responsibilities, become less burdensome when approached from presence. Stress arises when attention is divided between what is happening and what should be happening. When attention is fully given to the task at hand, action becomes almost effortless. Stillness does not mean inactivity. It means action arising from clarity rather than fear. The book also points out that suffering can be a doorway. Pain often forces attention inward. When resisted, pain intensifies. When accepted consciously, it transforms into awareness. A line often referenced captures this. Suffering has a noble purpose, the evolution of consciousness. This does not glorify pain, but it recognizes its potential. Presence turns pain into awakening. Living in the now does not eliminate planning. Planning still happens, but it happens lightly without psychological attachment. The future is used as a tool, not as an identity. Ultimately, the power of now points toward a simple truth. Peace is not found by rearranging external conditions, but by shifting inner attention. Presence is always available. It does not require effort, belief, or ritual. It only requires noticing what is already here. When awareness rests in the present moment, life unfolds with greater ease, clarity, and depth. If you enjoyed this reflection and these ideas resonate with you, you're very welcome to subscribe for more audiobooks and contemplative content like this. If you have thoughts, questions, or would like to explore other books or themes in this space, feel free to share them in the comments. I do read them. And if this video helped you in any way, a simple like is always appreciated. Thank you for listening.